Hello everyone, welcome to Khan Studio. And this clip is a spoiler recap of the movie This Means for 2022.
It's about a secret agent and assassin who has to pretend to be an ordinary ticket seller, but there's much more to the story.
Before watching, please give a like and a share to support our work.
Let's see how fun the movie is. The story begins in Hong Kong, where CI agent partners Thak and Frank are here to apprehend a target named KHAO. Their boss, Colin, confirmed the mission to intercept and capture the group.
KO's equipment must be seized, and remember, this is top secret.
Frank and his team enter a party and stop to chat with some ladies, both men lying that they're just on vacation. Frank says he's a cruise ship captain. Thak claims to be a ticket seller. Soon, the target, KHAO, arrives with his guards. Frank and his team split up to conduct surveillance, trying to blend in with the guests. KHAO reaches the negotiation room. Both sides place money and goods.
But then KHAO betrays the seller. After killing everyone, he walks out casually.
And Frank's team opens fire. KHAO shoots, scattering the guests.
The two sides fight for a long time.
Both sides are skilled, but in the end,
KHAO manages to escape by helicopter. Luckily, Frank's team
successfully seizes the equipment.
The scene cuts to the beautiful Lauren,
the leading actress of the story,
who works as a product PRE sale evaluator
at the CIA field office. KO's younger brother has died. Colin summons the two agents, displeased with the damage. Thak tries to say they completed the mission, but the boss tells him to shut up.
The rules for KO's case were clearly written: operate undercover and quietly, not cause citywide chaos.
He will surely seek revenge for his brother.
Colin grounds the two men as punishment. They are moved to desk jobs, which is incredibly boring.
Meanwhile, Lauren is talking to Steve, her ex-boyfriend, who just got engaged to his girlfriend, Kelly, who is wearing a large diamond ring.
Steve is about to get married.
Everything is perfect.
Then he kisses his fiancée for show. Lauren feels terrible but forces a smile, hiding her feelings, and lies that she's currently dating Ken,
a surgeon.
Lauren escapes to a sushi restaurant and meets Ken, who is actually a restaurant employee.
But things get worse because Steve is also at this restaurant.
Steve immediately asks, "This must be your boyfriend Ken's seat, right?"
The young woman replies yes, but the real Ken interjects, "No, she always comes here alone." Lauren thinks to herself, how much more embarrassing can this get?
After that, Lauren has to consult her friend Trish.
What should she do if she meets Steve again? Whenever she sees him, she's at a loss for words.
She can't believe she once dropped everything to follow Steve.
Trish immediately says Steve is a womanizer who likes girls who are eager to sleep with him. Trish advises her to date and get serious with some guys. At that moment, Trish is choosing laundry detergent.
But Lauren suggests another brand.
This one leaves residue on clothes. Trish immediately says she wishes Lauren could choose men as well as she chooses detergent.
Lauren has had bad experiences with online dating, but Trish advises that she still needs to date. Even if she hasn't found the right one, there's a chance she'll meet someone suitable. Cut to a party.
Frank invited Thak here.
They talk to the host,
who is Frank's lovely grandmother. Her name is Nana.
The grandmother tells the two young men to find wives.
Frank returns to his room, which has an amazing view with a girl in a bikini swimming. Meanwhile, Thak visits his son.
Yes, he has a son named Joe, who is practicing martial arts.
He loses badly to his friend. Joe is surprised to see his father now.
Thak lies that he took leave from work and wants to spend time with his son.
Joe says, "I lost," but Thak replies, "No, son, you didn't lose.
That's just an attitude." Joe retorts immediately, "Dad, you don't know anything about fighting.
You're just a ticket seller." Just then, the father of the boy who won earlier comes over, pats Thak on the bottom, and says hurtfully, "Hurts her? Then get rid of that weakness, soon." Joe's mother, Katie, arrives to pick him up.
She and Thak have been separated for a while.
She's a bit surprised to see her ex-husband there. Frank says he took leave and invited her to dinner to spend time with Joe as a family, but Katie replies she has a date, which is likely a lie. She doesn't press further. Frank is very chill, typical of a playboy. After a shower, he sits down to watch TV. Thak goes back to practicing martial arts, but at the same time, they are both watching TV, and it's an ad for a dating website. Thak seems quite interested.
The scene cuts to Lauren arriving at work, but everyone is looking at her strangely and smirking.
until she sees her computer screen.
It turns out someone has secretly signed her up for a dating site with the headline, "Come and get it." Lauren is furious and knows who did it. She calls Trish and immediately bombards her with questions. What is this? The other person just replies that she looks great in her sweatpants. Lauren says, "I'm going to kill you."
What is this?
Me doing a handstand on a beer keg. Looking for a serious relationship?
Trish says immediately, "It means you like to play around. Guys want to know if we're good at gymnastics, you know."
But while she's angry, Lauren sees a man who has shown interest in her, and he's quite cute.
Yes, that man is Thak.
Cut to the two guys.
Frank asks, "Are you on a dating app?" Thak admits it sheepishly, having already arranged to meet that girl. The next day, Thak is waiting for her, and soon Lauren arrives.
They greet each other. Lauren seems quite pleased with him.
She apologizes for her weird profile, saying her friend made it, but Thak doesn't mind at all.
Everyone has weird friends. Lauren says she'll have to kill Trish.
Thak jokingly replies, "If it's a real game, I might be able to help with that." Meanwhile, Frank is at a video rental store, which isn't far.
Thak mentions he has a son named Joe, who is 7 years old. As for Katie, his ex-wife, Thak couldn't make it work with her. Lauren shares that she has never had children.
Until Lauren asks seriously, "Have you ever thought about being a murderer or an assassin?" Thak replies immediately,
He's not ruling out the possibility.
"But not right now."
Lauren likes his honesty.
"You've never killed anyone with your bare hands, have you?"
Thak jokes again.
"Not this week, anyway."
They are both impressed with each other. Lauren arranges to meet him again.
She's going to rent a movie, go home, and wait for Thak to call.
Lauren walks to the rental store with a smile, but just as she's about to pick a movie, Frank happens to grab the same one. He tells her she can have it. You probably won't like it.
It has a twist ending. The other person immediately asks, "And how do you know what I like?" Frank replies, "I know movies and I know women." But Lauren sees through Frank.
She exposes him completely, saying he came here to find a victim, but the other girls probably weren't his type, so he came to talk to her. Lauren ends with, "Hope you find your victim." Frank feels like he's been slapped.
Back at the base, he immediately has his subordinates investigate Lauren, claiming it's related to KHAO, the target they're after. He gets her schedule, and the next day, Frank attends Lauren's product presentation.
He raises his hand, asks questions, and criticizes her products.
Frank asks Lauren out on a date,
The day after tomorrow at PM, because she's at work.
and wants him to leave quickly.
Lauren agrees perfunctorily.
And before leaving, Frank adds, "You smell nice."
Everyone in the room smiles. Cut to the two CIA guys sitting and looking at pictures of their girlfriends. They talk about having girlfriends before showing each other pictures at the same time.
And both of them look stunned because it's the same woman, Lauren. Thak is confused how this could happen, but Frank says he'll make it easy. He'll back off and let Thak date her. But Thak is skeptical and asks, "Did she say she'd go on a date with you?" Frank immediately replies,
I love you, man.
"You're my best friend."
And besides, if I were involved, it wouldn't be fair. Thak immediately asks, What does that mean?
Frank smiles and replies, implying that he's very skilled and has a captivating charm. If he joined in the dating,
Lauren would definitely choose him. Something like that.
hearing this, Thak wouldn't back down.
He tells his best friend to bring it on, and let's see who she chooses.
Frank agrees.
So they set some rules. 1. They shouldn't tell her they know each other.
2. They won't sabotage each other.
3. They won't sleep with her. And finally, if this negatively affects their friendship, they will stop immediately.
This is a gentleman's agreement.
Alright, the battle for the girl has begun.
Meanwhile, KHAO meets a suit expert and shows him the fabric from Frank's team's suit obtained during the fight. The tailor immediately says this is a special suit he only made for a few people, and the client is in Los Angeles.
He's sitting alone in his room while today, Thak is out on a date with Lauren. He spends time with her, showing her various things, and it seems Lauren is very impressed with him, to the point where they even kiss. When Lauren gets back to her room, she calls her friend Trish for advice.
She feels strange dating two guys at the same time, but Trish immediately tells her, "Don't think it's bad. That's a good thing. You have to live life to the fullest for women like me who can't." Lauren is immediately motivated.
Alright, for all women. At the CIA base,
Thak is alone at his desk because Frank is out on a date today.
but he can't help it. He wants to know what's happening, so he orders his subordinate to get pictures of his best friend. Frank meets Lauren and takes her to a club. Frank's character is completely different from Thak's.
He seems like a party boy. He introduces Lauren to all his friends, but when he turns to serve drinks, she's gone. Frank follows her out.
Lauren can't handle it. She's not that kind of person. Frank doesn't press either. He also doesn't like women who don't try to enjoy life.
However, just as they are about to part ways, Lauren sees Steve walking by with his fiancée. Not wanting to lose face, she tells Frank to kiss her right now. He's confused.
Steve is approaching. Lauren has no time. She decides to pull Frank in for a kiss herself. Steve sees them and is shocked, then greets them. Lauren smiles and proudly says, "This is my boyfriend, Frank." Frank is still confused. What the heck is going on? Lauren tells Steve, "He's the surgeon I told you about. Looks like he has to play along." Frank turns to shake Steve's hand and introduces himself as a neurosurgeon, even exaggerating by praising Lauren endlessly. Steve looks at his ex-girlfriend with clear disapproval on his face.
Frank kisses Lauren again, a big one.
They are sweet together, without a care, until Steve and his fiancée have to excuse themselves. Lauren thanks Frank very much. When bodies get close, a bond naturally forms. Frank invites her to dinner. "You have to explain this." The other agrees.
They are at the restaurant.
Lauren explains that she used to date Steve and packed her bags to follow him here. But then one day she saw Steve in bed with another girl. He wasn't the man she thought he was.
It was all a mistake, but Frank immediately says, "I don't believe in mistakes.
Mistakes make us who we are."
They're a part of life. If Lauren hadn't followed Steve here, she wouldn't have gotten the job she loves like this.
The other person admits that she loves her current job very much. Lauren praises the man.
"You're a very capable person, but still jokes. For a club addict, that is." Frank smiles and laughs. A date that almost failed turned out well. Scene cuts to Frank returning to work, smiling cheerfully, until a colleague remarks that girl last night was beautiful. Frank's smile vanishes.
He heads straight for Thak. When Thak sees his best friend's expression, he figures out that the other knows everything.
Thak apologizes for spying on the date, but before they can argue, Colin enters.
They now have information on Keo's man.
His name is Ivan, and he's trying to get Keo into the country. Ivan is currently in LA. Colin orders them to bring him in.
But then Thak suddenly says seriously that he really likes Lauren,
as if trying to make his best friend back off. But Frank says the same thing.
"I really like her too."
In the end, no one backs down, so the fight for the girl must continue.
Thak boasts that he kissed Lauren on their date.
But Frank isn't surprised because he did more than kiss her. A big smooch, and it probably won't be the last time. Thak says, "We'll see about that." Then, the two men order their own teams to investigate Lauren thoroughly, as if it were a national-level mission. The subordinates don't suspect anything.
Meanwhile, Lauren is happily singing in her room. Thak has secretly entered to plant listening devices and cameras.
And not long after, Frank comes as well.
Next scene, he has obtained Ivan's address. She orders them to go get him. They both arrive at the said club.
Thak tells the guard at the door
that they are friends of Ivan.
The guard lets them in, and this is Ivan.
He's playing cards with friends.
Frank's team pretends to be drunk, saying they are friends of Keo.
But Ivan immediately says Keo has no friends. The two sides immediately open fire. Ivan runs out.
Even though they are fighting over a girl, when it's time to work, Frank and Thak always watch each other's backs. In the end, they manage to capture Ivan. They drag him to the base to make him reveal Keo's location, but he refuses to talk, so they have to lock him up first.
At that moment, Frank and Thak receive a message at the same time, an update on Lauren from their subordinates.
They look at each other.
Before pretending to have an urgent matter,
the subordinates of both sides report to their respective bosses.
Lauren calls her best friend, saying she has an emergency. Lauren comes to talk to Trish. The emergency is that she can't choose between these two men.
She shows her friend their pictures.
Both are handsome.
Frank is in the control room, watching the two women talk. But soon Thak comes in,
so they watch together. Trish offers to sleep with both of them herself.
To find out who's better, she'll disguise herself as Lauren.
Her hair is already blonde, just like hers. Lauren immediately refuses.
So Trish asks for the qualities of each man, their pros and cons.
Lauren starts with Frank. He has very small hands, implying his
might also be small. Thak hears this and laughs until he almost cries. Frank immediately says, "You know that's not true. You've seen how big it is."
Lauren then talks about Thak.
She says briefly that he's British. Thak hears this and is confused, but Frank laughs back, meaning his is also small. Trish says it's a tie then. After talking back and forth, Lauren gives herself a 1-week deadline. She has to decide who she will choose. Then, the two men separate to work with their own teams, studying what she likes to impress Lauren.
She likes collecting Carmelo cars. Thak rents the rarest Carmelo and takes her for a drive, which impresses her quite a bit.
But Frank doesn't give up. He knows she likes collecting art by a certain artist.
Frank finds it and takes her to see it, explaining its history expertly, because his subordinate is feeding him information through an earpiece. Lauren is equally impressed.
She even links arms with Frank.
Lauren calls Trish to update her.
She feels they are both great. Too good, even.
Lauren doesn't know what to do.
Frank is eavesdropping.
Trish gives her some alcohol. Lauren starts with Frank. He has beautiful eyes that make you want to melt, and he's incredibly handsome.
Frank listens and smiles, until she says, "But Frank is also full of energy."
He talks non-stop, sometimes seeming like he doesn't care about anything but himself. Hearing this, Frank quickly finds a solution. He takes her to a pet store to buy a dog, implying he's selfless and not just thinking of himself. Lauren is impressed.
She even kisses him. As for Thak,
Lauren says he seems like a very kind, sweet, and warm man, but almost too nice.
everything feels safe, to the point of lacking excitement. Hearing this, Thak arranges something. The next day, he invites her to go shooting, and he shows of his fighting skills, leaving her stunned.
Lauren updates Trish as usual.
She still can't choose.
Both are putting in a lot of effort for her.
Trish asks what she'll do next. The other replies she'll do what every woman should do: sleep with him. Sex will be the decider. Hearing this, Trish throws her hands up in joy.
Finally, her friend is going to do it.
Frank and his team are listening. This time, both agree not to have sex with her.
But both quickly excuse themselves. Yes, they were lying just now.
Thak starts first. He brings Lauren to his house and lights candles to set the mood. But before they can even start, Frank, who is watching secretly, orders rain to fall in the room immediately. Now it's his turn. Frank brings Lauren to his room as well, and the atmosphere is very conducive to,
Lauren asks to use the bathroom.
Frank quickly prepares drinks and even puts on some music, but then he's shot with a tranquilizer dart by Thak, who fired from the building opposite.
When Lauren comes out, she sees Frank fast asleep. Game over.
He even says, "You two are going to die." At that time, Cheo has arrived in the Oz.
He's here to take revenge on Frank's team for causing his younger brother's death in Hong Kong. Cut to today. Frank brings Lauren to meet his grandmother, Nana.
The grandmother takes her aside to talk privately, shows her pictures of Frank as a child, and tells her about his parents, who died in a car accident when he was 9. This made Frank reluctant to trust people easily. But Lauren must be an exception because she's the first person he's ever brought home. Then, Lauren has dinner with Frank's family. The grandmother gossips about her grandson, revealing that the person who taught Frank
about not believing in mistakes was Nana herself.
Frank takes his girlfriend home. She says she had a very happy day.
Frank thinks for a moment, then excuses himself to leave.
He says, "I have to be a gentleman," but Lauren replies, "But I'm not a gentleman after such an invitation." Our Frank goes all out immediately.
They make love for the first time.
Boy, Thak's man is secretly watching. The next morning, Lauren wakes up first. She has to rush to work, even though Frank asks her to stay.
She calls Trish to tell her she just had sex with Frank and it was amazing, like 5 times better. But the issue is, this afternoon,
she has to meet Thak. What should she do? Trish immediately advises her not to overthink it and just go meet him. Thak arrives at the office and asks to see the CCTV footage from Lauren's house, but Boy doesn't want him to see it and pretends the disc is corrupted. Thak tells him not to lie,
until he finds out that Frank slept with her. He immediately confronts his best friend.
"Didn't we agree not to do that?" But Frank tells him to forget that rule. He genuinely cares about Lauren now, which has never happened with any other woman.
Then he orders Boy to arrange a fake family for Thak.
He briefs them on what to say and how to act.
Then he arranges dinner with Lauren so she can meet his family, but then Frank
sends a group of people to replace them, to pose as Thak's family. Thak is very confused about who these people are, but they play their parts extravagantly, saying Thak is this and that, and making up various stories.
Frank is amused listening, but Lauren feels bad and excuses herself immediately. Thak runs after her. He tells her the whole truth. He doesn't have a family. This is a fake family he hired to impress her. Lauren asks about Joe.
Thak then reveals his relationship with Joe is terrible. Joe was a lovely kid until he started growing up, and Thak couldn't reach his son anymore. Thak offers to take Lauren home, which happens to be on the way past Joe's school.
So Lauren agrees, but when she meets the boy, Lauren seems to really like Joe, and invites him to do some activity together.
Frank starts feeling uneasy. The activity is taking him to clean the company, and it turns out very well. The three of them are happily spraying water.
In the evening,
Thak takes his son home and greets his ex-wife, Katie. Frank complains to his subordinate. He brought a kid to help. That's not fighting fair. Thak drops Lauren off.
He says, I had a lot of fun today. Thanks. Lauren feels the same way. Then they kiss, but it doesn't end there. They continue in the room.
Frank knows immediately what's going to happen next, and he doesn't want to hear it anymore.
But Lauren stops Thak. I'm not the kind of girl. He doesn't force her at all.
He says, I know.
That's why I fell completely in love with you. Lauren goes back to Trish, her headache even worse.
She doesn't know what to do.
Lauren asks,
is it possible to love two people equally? Trish immediately says you can like them, but you can only love one. Trish ends by telling her to think. Don't choose the better person. Choose the person who makes you a better person.
As for the two guys, Frank is packing his things.
Thak says that no matter who Lauren chooses, their friendship is over. Frank replies, I've already written a request to transfer to Colin's unit. Just then, Lauren calls Thak. He smiles and answers immediately.
Lauren asks to meet. Frank looks disappointed but accepts his defeat.
After Thak leaves, Frank is almost unpacking.
He says goodbye to his subordinates, but then Frank glances at the CCTV footage from Lauren's house last night. While Thak was with her in the car, there was another car secretly watching them. When he zooms in, it turns out to be KHAO. Frank has to rush to warn his best friend,
who is currently at a restaurant.
Lauren is about to say something, but then Frank shows up.
The young woman is very surprised.
She tells Thak,
this is Frank, my friend. The two men shake hands and exchange words.
Lauren excuses herself to go to the bathroom. She quickly calls Trish, telling her to come here urgently. They are both here together.
Meanwhile, Thak thinks Frank intentionally came to interfere, being a sore loser, but Frank tries to seriously tell him he's here about KHAO.
He's here.
We need to go to work. But Thak doesn't believe him and tells him to go back.
But as Frank is about to leave, Thak slaps him. Where are you going?
What do you want? So Frank hits him back. Then the two best friends start fighting in the middle of the restaurant. The scene cuts back and forth.
Lauren is trying to give herself a pep talk in the mirror to explain things to them, while the two men are relentlessly fighting.
Their skills are about equal. In the end, both are badly hurt, and soon Lauren comes out.
She's utterly confused. What is going on?
Until she hears Frank's team talking.
Lauren immediately asks, do you know each other? Are you playing a game to woo me?
The two men don't deny it. The young woman is very upset.
She walks away immediately. Trish arrives just in time to pick her up. Lauren tells her what happened. But just then, the two men walk out of the restaurant. Soon, Lauren calls. While the best friends are arguing about who she will choose, KHAO gets on the line, saying Lauren is with him now. He tells the two men to meet him at a warehouse. Strictly no police, or he'll send her head to them. Frank definitely won't follow his orders. If they go to the warehouse, he'll kill them both anyway.
He uses a satellite.
The two men are forced to team up and quickly drive to the coordinates. After that, it's a wild action sequence. Frank jumps to rescue Lauren.
Trish's car plunges into the water. Kao's driver is shot, so he has to drive himself.
Lauren is very confused.
Who are you two really? This forces them to confess. Thak says, I'm not a ticket seller, and Frank is not a cruise ship owner.
We are both secret agents. Another group of them blocks the way. Lauren takes over driving.
The two men cooperate. Frank helps pull Thak.
They both say, I missed you like crazy. I love you, man. They haven't felt this way for a long time after being love rivals.
And this makes the news. Joe, who is watching, asks his mother if that's his dad. However, the road they are chasing on, the bridge ahead is unfinished.
Frank shoots and blows up a guard's car. Lauren quickly turns the steering wheel. Their car spins multiple times and stops right at the edge. A narrow escape. Frank tells Lauren,
I hope you can forgive Thak.
he's the best person for me, meaning Thak is his best friend.
But Thak says, you two are the ones who are suitable for each other. Frank replies immediately.
I thought you already made your decision.
However, the young woman says no. She hasn't decided yet. The two men are shocked.
But Keiichiro drives up just then.
Frank's team stands and fires repeatedly.
But his car is. Lauren, being a product tester, tells them to shoot the headlights.
The airbags will deploy in all cars manufactured after 2006.
When they shoot, the airbags hit Keiichiro full in the face, causing his car to flip over.
But the car rolls towards Lauren.
The two men rush to help her.
Each tells her to run to him. The car plunges off the bridge. It turns out Lauren chose to go to Frank. Frank himself is still confused. Thak is a bit disappointed but understands.
After things calm down, Lauren talks to Thak. Actually, when she called him earlier, it was to tell him this, that she had chosen Frank. Thak understands now.
And Joe and Katie, who never knew Thak was a secret agent, probably know now. Frank comes to talk to his best friend. He'll clear things up here so Thak can go to his family.
They hug and reconcile.
Then Frank kisses Lauren.
Cut to Thak watching Joe practice.
Today, the young boy wins his fight because Thak coached him himself. That man, the other boy's father, scolds his son.
Thak walks over and punches him in the stomach once, payback for when he patted his bottom, and says the same thing.
This big brother once said pain is how you get rid of weakness. The other can only say, yes, big brother, just then. Katie comes to pick up Joe and sees everything that just happened. She asks, so you're not a ticket seller at all? Thak replies, no, this is me. Katie extends her hand as if meeting him for the first time, before inviting him to have dinner together.
As a family, meaning she's ready to start over with him.
After that, when Frank's team goes into the field, Lauren will inform them about the features of various equipment to help them work better.
And she also knows that Thak has reconciled with his wife.
But before they parachute, Frank tells his beloved friend that he once slept with Katie, but it was before she married Thak. The reason he's telling him is so they can be even, since Thak once slept with Lo.
But Thak immediately says,
I've never slept with Lauren.
Frank is very confused.
Really?
Thak says angrily, before lunging at Frank.
And they both fall.
Before the movie ends here. And this means War 2012, the romantic action comedy, which scored 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. Critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it 26%, while the audience score was 56%. If you like this genre, give it a +1.
You can watch the full movie on Apple TV.
And if you like this clip, please hit like. To see more clips, subscribe to Con Studio. Signing off for now. Goodbye.